Добрый вечер, дорогие друзья! Меня по-прежнему зовут Аслан Тусубжанов, и я очень рад приветствовать всех вас на трансляции третьего дня фестиваля Go Viral 2020. Давайте расскажу вам сейчас о том, что было у нас вчера. Во время второго дня вчера у нас было две презентации от keynote-спикеров. Владимир Вулич рассказал о том, как создать идеальный клиентский опыт. Ну и вечером Маркус Джей Бюллер рассказал о том, поделился со своими учениями в MIT и рассказал о том, может ли вирус петь. Теперь давайте расскажу вам о том, что произошло сегодня на данный момент, на третий день фестиваля Go Viral. Сегодня с утра по закрытой ссылке вам стал доступен фильм Two Horizons от Саудат Исмаиловой. Фильм будет доступен еще один день. Также сегодня прошли 3 воркшопа на платформе Zoom. Первый воркшоп, там был Сет Синклер, и темой воркшопа была геймификация в дистанционном обучении. Второй воркшоп, там руководил Владимир Вулич, и он рассказал о том, как перезапустить компанию для эпохи цифровых технологий. И третий воркшоп, ей руководила Аяш Мырзабекова, и темой воркшопа была разработка своего собственного курса «История и план действий эдупренера». Это предприниматель в сфере образования. Ну а сейчас, дорогие друзья, я очень рад сказать вам, что сейчас будет интереснейшая сессия. Очень рад приветствовать двух людей, кто будет у нас на этой сессии. Это Фрэнк Поппер. Во-первых, Фрэнк Поппер. Темой сессии будет сюжет, в котором главным является персонаж и как стать self-made кинорежиссером. Ну, я также очень рад приветствовать еще одного гостя в нашей студии сегодня. Это журналист, любитель кино и давний друг нашего фестиваля Мади Мамбетов. Мади, добрый вечер.
Здравствуйте, Аслан. Спасибо за приглашение.
Очень рад, что вы смогли присоединиться к нам сегодня. Дорогие друзья, для тех, кто с нашим фестивалем с первого нашего года, ведь фестиваль проходит уже 4-й год, знает, что в 2017 году ведущим фестиваля был как раз-таки Мади Мамбетов. Ну что ж, дорогие друзья, не буду больше тянуть. Итак, Фрэнк Поппер и Мади Мамбетов.
Спасибо еще раз за представление. Рад приветствовать всех участников фестиваля Go Viral. Это всегда огромное удовольствие принимать участие в подготовке этого мероприятия. Сегодня у нас интереснейший гость. На самом деле достаточно уникальная фигура, потому что он нестандартным образом попал в кинематограф. Это документалист. Это человек, который совмещает в себе множество различных ипостаси. То есть он и режиссер в первую очередь, но он одновременно и оператор, и продюсер своих работ, и автор сценария, то есть такой человек-оркестр. Мы очень рады сегодня поговорить с ним. Его дебютная работа, снятая, если мне память не изменяет, в 2005 году, которая называлась «Can Mr. Smith Go to Washington?», рассказывавшая о местных выборах в одном из американских штатов. Она даже попала в шорт-лист претендентов на награду киноакадемии, на «Оскара», в номинации «Лучшее документальное кино». То есть это человек, который, начиная со своей первой работы и продолжая вплоть до последний текущий момент, показывает невероятный класс. И для нас большое, мне кажется, будет для всех удовольствие с ним пообщаться, потому что сегодня не только я буду задавать ему вопросы, но обязательно буду получать вопросы, которые будете задавать вы. Это можно будет сделать на наших каналах. И что бы я хотел еще добавить? Ну, впрочем, можно уже, наверное, переходить, собственно говоря, к беседе с нашим дорогим гостем. Так, Фрэнк у нас на связи, нет? Так, окей. So, hi.
Hi, how are you, Madi? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Although I don't see you right now, good to hear
Okay.
you, Frank. Thanks again for taking a part. Now I see you. Hi.
Okay.
I'm really glad to see you again, and thanks for taking a participation in our event. I must warn you that sometimes I would switch off to Russian language, since most of our audience is Russian-speaking people, and I think we will start from your beginnings, from that fascinating way that you chose to become a cinematographer. So,
Yes.
please share your experience.
Well, I did not grow up dreaming to become a filmmaker. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, so I decided just to become a teacher. It's the only thing that I really knew that I had sat in classrooms my entire life. Seemed like a pretty decent career. And my first year of teaching, I did not control my classroom very well. It was very rambunctious, noisy classroom. And at the end of the year, the principal invited me down to his office. He said, "You're too noisy. Your classroom is way too noisy. I'm sending you to the other end of the building." And his decision to do that changed my life because he stuck me in the art department. Mm-hmm. And it was there that I got a chance to meet a photographer. And I would watch him work and I said, "This looks amazing. Could you show me how to do this?" And that was the beginning of the end of my teaching career and to begin about becoming a professional photographer. And so I quit my job the following year and I started making photographs, but it was over a long period of time that it evolved from photography to filmmaking. And it was too late for me to go to film school, and I had to figure out how am I going to learn how to do this. So I always loved the movies, and I studied very carefully master American filmmakers like Stanley Kubrick and Martin Scorsese and Terrence Malick. And I just started practicing making little tiny movies. I didn't have any friends who made films, so I started making them myself. And pretty much today, I'm still making them myself. So when I go onto a set, it's just me with my camera and a monopod and a sound package. To be sure, filmmaking is a collaborative effort, without a doubt. But I have learned over the course of time to show up on set when I found a story that I want to tell, and I start shooting.
That's amazing. And actually, it reminds me of Quentin Tarantino, I guess, because he's also a self-taught cinematographer. And he describes his way also as lots of watching and then trying to imitate and then developing his own style. And if I remember correctly, you changed your professional career at the pretty advanced age. You were 35, I guess, right?
Somewhere in there. I was like in my mid-30s, exactly. Yeah. So it was a big deal, actually, to change careers at that age. But I had a very supportive wife who could see that I had a dream. And she said, she had a full-time job. She said, I support you in your effort to become a photographer and a filmmaker, if that's what you want to be. So quit your job and we'll make it work. So without her support, I would not have been able to do it.
Thanks for this shout out, because it's really important to have someone next to you who supports you and who believes in you. That's really great, because actually you answered my next question, because I wanted to ask you, was it scary to change your life like that? But now I know the answer. We are discussing, first of all, your last to-date feature documentary, Gentlemen of Vision. It was and still available for our for participants of Go Viral Festival to watch. So I really hope that many people watched it, because it's a great work, great piece of filmmaking. And thank you so much, because it tells a story. It tells a story of organization through people, through Mr. Warden, this coach, through his these young boys who participate in this program. It is really empowering and really inspiring. So and also I need to thank you for giving me the link to the to your debut feature documentary about Mr. Smith. I watched it.
Mr. Smith Get to Washington.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I watched it as well, and I'm equally impressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you, because first of all, I was really amazed how fascinating it is to watch this election process. although it seemed usually, like we perceive elections as a very boring, like very uninspiring thing to watch, and we know how many people are refusing to even vote for president or in Congress. It says a lot about you as a filmmaker, but also it tells us viewers about the importance of the right person to be in the center of the movie, about characters, about these heroes. So the question is, how do you find these amazing people? And especially, although most of our viewers probably didn't watch Mr. Smith, and I sincerely advise them to do so. But I assumed from this movie that you started to film his election. Jeff Smith's election campaign from that early stage, and then you followed through the whole process. Why did you choose him? Because I assume very many people and young people as well try to break into the big politics, and you found this guy who delivered, because it was very it was like nail-biting experience to watch his attempt. Yes. So yeah, I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. So the question is, where do you find these people, and what comes first, story or characters?
Character always comes first. When I go to the movies, I like to watch movies that move me, like the movies of the masters that I mentioned before. When I was growing up, documentary filmmaking was pretty boring. I was not really interested in making old school documentary films about issues, because I'm really interested in people. And so, and I find people by accident. They come into my view. I'm sort of looking for them, but I don't know who they're going to be. But my documentaries are always focused on a character, on a compelling character. So I found Jeff Smith. By the way, you're welcome to share the link and the password if anybody would like to look at it, although I'd have to warn you that there's no Russian subtitles. It's strictly in English.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. But when President George W. Bush decided to invade Afghanistan without allowing the weapons inspectors to finish, looking for weapons, it seemed like it was a huge rush to war, and it disturbed me greatly. So at that point in my life, I was very disturbed by what was going on at the national level, and I was at a political event when Jeff Smith was walking around introducing himself to people, and he came up to me and he said, "Hi, my name is Jeff Smith. I'm running for Congress." And he's like a short guy. He's not very big, kind of funny, sort of a little, there was something about him that I liked. And there was another Smith running for the same office. And I said, "I think I've heard about you, but I'm not sure if I have it or not." And he said, "Yes, you and 35 other people." And I knew I found my character. So I went to his campaign headquarters and I said, "I would like to make a documentary." And they said, "Come on in and start filming." So a week later, I just started showing up. So I was drawn to him personally, and I had a passion for telling. Oh, he was very disturbed also with George W. Bush, so that was perfect. He would get out on the campaign trail and basically talk about the huge mistake that was being made at the national level. So that's how I found him. And then with regard to Marlon Wharton, it was an accident. Again, I was working on a completely different documentary. It was a short documentary for a television station. And we were doing pre-production interviews, and we were meeting young people who were facing obstacles to their education. And we were jumping from school to school over the period of 2 or 3 weeks. And we went to one school where we met these kids who were in the STEP team. And I knew immediately when we were interviewing them, this had to be its own documentary. So I went back to the executive producer of the other documentary and I said, we need to get this one done quickly because this is a great story. And she said, to her credit, we don't have the money, we don't have the time, let's do it anyway. And then I hadn't even really hardly met Marlon, I'd met the kids. So the first day I show up, I'm thinking this is going to be focused on the kids. And Marlon, I'd really seen him in action for the first time. He was such a strong, compelling person, like a force of nature, that I realized, oh my gosh, here's the story here. So every day that I would show up to film, I would put a microphone on him and I would just follow him. So it's my desire to try to make a documentary that feels like a movie because it's focused on a very compelling character. And I think we're all interested in very compelling people who are doing interesting and fascinating things.
Absolutely, absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. And as when I was starting on television in mid-90s, actually, I was told by older professionals, more experienced guys, that people are interested in people, not in news or corporations or some machinery. People are interested in people, and I think that's the most important part when you are a filmmaker. But to continue this line of questions about characters in your movies. Of course, after watching Mr. Smith, I went online to see what happened to him afterwards, and you can imagine my surprise when I saw this information that he was convicted actually for some misdeeds, and although it didn't it didn't affect my perception of him very much, because people are making mistakes, I guess. But I was thinking about documentary as a genre, because when you're creating the fiction the movie, like a comedy or a drama, you have your character, and afterwards you can do whatever you want with this character. You can leave it to this place, or you can make a bunch of sequels and develop this person, in any way, which way. But with real people, they can let you down somehow, right? As with Mr. Smith, because I personally don't think so, but some viewers can change their attitude to the film itself because of these events afterwards. So, what do you think about that? I cannot even, give you a well-worded question, but
right. Well, I thought what I was thinking you were going to ask me, and maybe you were asking me several questions, and they're all so fascinating. Great questions. I think you seem to be implying that, in fiction, you can create basically an outline, storyboards, and then you start filming. In documentary, you don't know where it's going. And for me, that's the exciting part. It's a big challenge, like, okay, I'm trying to make a documentary that feels like a movie. So it really should have basically 3 acts in it. There should be a point early in the film where something dramatic happens and it pulls the audience in. And the main character has to overcome obstacles. It's challenges that get increasingly more difficult. And then towards the end, before it ends, he gets slammed with something you think, oh my God, he'll never get out of this. That's sort of the formula for, a typical narrative film. And I think it helps if, in my particular instance, if the main character is on a timeline of some sort. You can start anywhere, but it's going to end somewhere here, and they are subject to that ending.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
For Mr. Smith, he was running for office, and the whole film was pointing towards election day. So as he moves forward, the energy becomes greater, the conflicts become greater, the stakes become higher, he becomes more manic, you know, which just makes it more interesting for the camera, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I think this is sort of a secret that I would suggest is if there's any first-time filmmakers out there looking for a movie. I think it's difficult I personally think it's difficult to stay interested in a film where the issues are the focus. Because like you said, I really want to focus on character, but I feel like if you follow the story of somebody who's doing something really interesting on a timeline, and you treat it honestly and in detail and with depth, issues will naturally rise to the fore. So I feel like I've kind of lost the train of my thought here.
I'm sorry, that's because my question was kind of shapeless. But I get what you're saying, and it's really important for any filmmaker who may possibly watch us now or later when this recording will be available on YouTube or something or somewhere. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you also that I find it very curious and very engaging the fact that your characters they're not perfect. They're kind of flawed. You know, Mr. Smith has his, you know, like this squeaky voice, and sometimes you can see how desperate he is to get to where he's going, and also these amazing guys in Gentlemen of Vision, because not only Mr. Wharton is very interesting, but every boy depicted in this movie, they are three-dimensional. They are very. They have depth. They have real life in them, and they also have some, you know, like some backgrounds and some issues with, of course, on family or in education and all of this. And that makes it so much more relatable and so much more interesting. Is there any rules for you, kind of ethical rules about cutting some things out of the film, although they may be very dramatic or have some shock value for viewers?
Yes, that happens all the time. But the thing is, you know, when they happen in front of the camera, you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. But as you start editing, that's where the story comes together. You begin to realize what your story is going to be, and then you do everything that you can to build that story. And I think in my particular instance, if I'm doing a good job, the story sort of comes to life on its own, and then it starts speaking to me. And it's telling me, you know what, you might like this shot, you might like this scene, but it's not germane to the story, so you get rid of it. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important to keep people engaged, to stay focused on the story and not drift away from it. So for sure, there were opportunities when I could have included some great stuff that I really wanted to include in the movie, but it would have caused the viewer to say, wait, where are we going here? You know, so you always hope as you're cutting together that the story it becomes your baby, and then it becomes an adult, and it tells you, listen to me, I'm telling you where it should go, you know? So that's sort of a rule of thumb. Mm-hmm. I'd say the other thing too is that I'm always interested in following characters that I find interesting. I never ask myself the question, will an audience like this? I never ask that question. I'm making it for me. And I figure if I'm interested in it and I follow those parts of the story that I think are interesting, I can't wait to get up in the morning and get out on set. People will feel that and they'll like it. you know? So the barometer of a good story, I think, in my particular instance, is just, am I having fun watching this thing? And I think as long as I'm having fun working on it, the audience will be entertained.
That's really interesting, and it leads me to next question. I was planning to ask you. You're an independent filmmaker. You're a documentary filmmaker. So, of course, it gives you, to some extent, certain artistical freedom, right? But you still have co-producers. Uh, and people who finance your movies sometimes, do they have a say in the final product? Do they have a right to give you some pieces of advice or demand that you cut something out or add something in?
I've never had that when it comes to demands. I've never had to deal with that. Um, but I'm always open to advice. I relish it. I welcome it. I want people to give me feedback on it. I can tell you with regard to Mr. Smith, I didn't even meet the co-producers on the film until I had finished shooting it and editing it. And I showed it to Jeff Smith, and he said, "Oh my gosh, this is really good. I need to show this to my campaign managers." So I showed it to them, and they said, "Oh, you missed the really good stuff early on. This is really good, but there's a few things we could tell you about the story that you missed." So what we did was we concocted a scene at the very beginning of the movie where Jeff Smith is driving around the city, talking about all the big dramas that we missed, which was that all the important people in his life did not give him any support at all. They didn't like what he was doing. They wouldn't get, his grandmother wouldn't give him a cent. He said to some woman, she said to some woman, his grandmother, Ida, I got a letter from your son. He's running for Congress. He wants money. She said, "Don't give him any money." So, you know, if I hadn't listened to these people and, you know, got their advice, I mean, it was immediate. I knew this had to be included. But as the film got better, we were all a team. We were all saying, "Okay, this thing is getting better and better," you know. But I think the only person who really dictates or demands is the story itself. So I never had the executive producer on Gentlemen of Vision say, you know, I don't like this. Can you get rid of this? And I think it's because I think I've been lucky maybe so far, although I will say I did have a bad experience many years ago where those things did happen, and I was fired from a film because
Seriously?
I wouldn't listen to them.
Wow.
But I said, you know what? I'll tell you what, let me take the footage and show you what I was going to do. So I took 3 months, I cut it together, I showed it to them, and they actually came back to me and said, "Okay, we'd be interested in buying this from you." How much? And I was so angry, I put a really high price on it. If I had it all over to do again, I would have said, "I'll sell it to you for $1." Because then it would still be out there, but they felt like they'd already paid me a bunch of money.
Yeah.
But I don't like working in environments where I'm being dictated. That's why when I'm working for myself and there's no budget, there's no pressure. But when the budget starts building, you know, getting high, there's a little bit of pressure there. People have certain expectations, you know.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't you ever maybe do you ever wonder what it's gonna be to have like $1 million for a production of some dream project of yours, and maybe if you were offered that kind of money, maybe you could bend a little bit, you know, like maybe limit your artistical freedom to some extent.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't consider myself to be. I'm kind of an easygoing guy, you know. And I don't like a lot of conflict. So, you know, if there was $1 million there and somebody said, "Could you do that?" I mean, it would depend. it would depend, because I know there are times when, like the executive producer I was referring to before on a previous project we worked on, she asked me to do something. And I said, well, I can do that, but here's why I don't think it would be a good idea. And she listened to me. And she said, no, you're right. You're right. But she said, like, what do you think about this idea? And I said, actually, that's a good idea. So I think as long as you're having a conversation, you're okay. You know?
Amazing.
You know, as long as you're
Yeah.
having a conversation and you're listening to each other and you're both on the same team trying to make a good film, I think you can take your $1 million and keep moving forward.
I really like your approach. I mean, it's. I get why you are so optimistic and I don't know, energetic all the time, and yeah, that's really great.
Thank you.
Uh, and I. While I was watching your movies, Gentlemen of Vision and Can Mr. Smith Go to Washington Anymore, I was thinking about how urgent they feel right now. Although one of these movies was filmed and produced almost 15 years ago, and Gentlemen of Vision, it was released in 16th, right?
It was finished in 16, yes.
Yeah. So, and while I was watching, I thought about that. Mr. Smith is dedicated to the flawed political system, and because although he fought tooth and nail and he surrounded himself with an amazing team of young, albeit amateur people, but very enthusiastic, and he came so close, and still the system prevailed. And now we see that in unfolding before our own eyes regarding American presidential election this year. And Gentlemen of Vision, of course, dedicated to the issues with black communities and black youth. And since the murder of George Floyd, we see how urgent this problem, how urgent this issue for American society, but for the whole world. So I think my question is now, when everything is going really interesting with Trump presidency, now when we are in these very uncertain and troubled times, do you filming something which can reflect these times? What do you do right now? Or you're...
Are you asking me, do I have a current project?
Yep, yeah, because it feels like a person like you should be very anxious to capture this and maybe make some statement in form of the documentary.
Well, I will say this, that's too much pressure for me. If I have to set out to make a statement, to me, that would not be interesting. I'm interested in I don't think I'm a very interesting person, but I'm drawn to interesting people. And if I can make them interesting to an audience, that's all I really care about. I hate to sound so crass about it, but I just want to make people, I want to entertain them. You know, I love to cook. I'm pretty good in the kitchen. When I'm not making movies, I cook. And when I'm making movies, I don't cook. But both instances, I'm trying to please people. I'm trying to entertain them. I'm trying to make them feel good and happy and all that. So I'm not the kind of person that would be good at making a film about deep, dark, people or characters or issues. I mean, it would just depend. I will say right now, I'm working on a project with one of the characters from Gentlemen of Vision.
Ah, seriously?
Yes. Yes, as a matter of fact, so his name is Tyle McNary. He's the one who has the funny perspective on everything. He's not a stepper, he's a graduate.
I remember him. Yeah.
He explains the step names and all that.
Yeah.
And I said to him after, when it was all over with, I said, God, I think you have a documentary in you somewhere. I'm going to start filming you. And so I tried to figure something out. It wasn't working. But I noticed, see, everything is personal. I noticed, so he was homeless. He was homeless at the time. So if I was going to film him, I had to go pick him up and take him out to breakfast. And I noticed over time, he had so many fascinating, funny observations about life. I said, you know what? And he'd always say, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. I said, I have an idea. Let's do a web series called Tyle McNary, You May Be Wrong, But You Doubt It. And you just talk about these issues. So if you go to YouTube, look up Tyle McNary. I can send you this information if you want it. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. He doesn't understand, for example, why white people can stand the cold. It's like, what's wrong with you people? So it's very funny. He has a way of talking about racial issues that are very entertaining. But I couldn't find a movie in it. But now I'm working on a documentary because I've been invited to tell a story about an organization that helps to build affordable housing for people who can't afford it. And I'm going to bring him in as the narrator. And I'm going to say, Tyle, most of it takes place in an African-American neighborhood.
Yeah.
My last film was me with my white eyes and my white camera and my white perspective looking at this African-American community. This next film, I said, you know what? I want you to be the point man, and I'm going to follow you because I think I missed a bunch of stuff. And he said, oh, you sure did. You missed a ton.
He may be wrong, but he does
I know.
it. Yeah.
So, Ernest Hemingway used to go fishing in the Caribbean, and you can see these pictures of him with these gigantic fish on these boats. Well, he caught those fish because he had a guide who lived there all his life and knew where the big fish were. So that's my approach on this documentary. He's going to be my guide, and he's going to help me find the story. So, and I'm sure if we do a good job, some statement, people will find a statement in there, and I'll say, yes, perfect. I'll never admit to like trying to make that statement. But I have to say, though, I'm very worried about filming in the world of COVID-19. I don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah, but
I really don't.
If you can, if I may put my 2 cents, I mean, for a filmmaker like yourself, who is one-man band, who is filming and do this lighting and sound and everything, I mean, you're gonna be the least affected filmmaker in the world, I guess, by all of this.
Well, I fall into the age group where most people who get it don't do too well, and I also have a blood type that apparently COVID doesn't like. So
please take care of yourself.
So we start filming Monday. We start filming tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And we're doing pre-production interviews. We're in a room that has ventilation. We're going to open the windows. Everybody wears a mask. We're going to take their temperature and ask them questions. Did you hang out with anybody who had COVID, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to have a mask and a face shield. I've got 21 people I'm interviewing, and I'm going to start cutting it together and then see if anybody says something interesting. And Tyle's going to help me bring that out of them. And then when we do find that, we're going to say, how do we get this footage? Can we go into somebody's house? I don't think so. Are we going to be filming them outside? Well, it's going to be cold soon. So I don't really know.
Yeah, but it still sounds, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, please.
But it still sounds like a very exciting project, so maybe just take your time, and COVID is not forever. I guess sooner or later it maybe will go away, or we will have a vaccine and everything will kind of turn back to normal. So good luck with your job, with your first day of shooting tomorrow, and I'm really I really anticipate your new work, and I think that you and your narrator will be the great team. So if you. You're welcome. And we have a bunch of questions actually. So if you don't mind, we can switch to the questions from the audience.
Sure, perfect.
Okay, amazing. So continuing from the previous piece of our conversation, someone, unfortunately, I don't have names. Of the people who are asking these questions, but someone asks, can you share the secret how to, Jesus, I don't know how to translate this very easy word. How do you get your character, your hero in your movie to open up, to share with you?
Oh, okay. Well, so I'm kind of a small guy. I'm not very big, kind of skinny. It's just me when I show up on location with a camera. And when you first walk into the room, people are very aware there's a camera running.
Yeah.
So I start in the corner. I start off at a great distance, and I slowly get closer, but very quiet. I make no noise at all, And like 15, 20 minutes in, I can be right in somebody's face.
Yeah.
And because they're talking to somebody, and I've slowly moved in, and then they just kind of forget that I'm there. So I think I respect their space. I let them know this is your space. It's not my space. I'm intruding on your sacred ground. And so I think they pick up on that respect, and they don't think that I'm going to hurt them, or, it seems like I'm trying to let them know I'm on your side. I'm just trying to help you tell your story. So start off far, moving. I mean, it happens fast. It happens a lot faster than you'd think.
Thank you. Thanks. I think that's a very helpful and useful tip.
Did I answer that question?
Yeah, I guess so. In my opinion, completely. But also, you know how documentary filmmakers are often compared to the fly on the wall.
Yes.
So yeah, and your approach, which you described, it's very similar, I guess, because at some point you just forget that this fly on the wall, and it observes everything. Someone named Lena Moore asks why. I think that you already answered that. So she's very curious about the awards behind your back.
Oh, those are television awards. Those are there on display because I was doing some American Film Showcase presentations virtually.
Yeah.
And during our setups, the people at the American Film Showcase said, I don't know which way to point which way do I point the thing? They say, wait, what's that back there? So those are two regional Emmy awards. Normally I'd have them like off in the corner somewhere, but they're there because it seems to work. So they're local Emmys. They're local Emmys. They're not national awards. I have won national awards, but those are not them.
Yeah, but they still look cool, and of course it's not out of vanity. It's just for the business. And also, I'm curious: do awards or accolades inspire you?
No. No. Although I will say, in other words, when I'm making a film, I'm not thinking, boy, this is going to be an award winner. I never think about that. But when it's done, one of the best ways of getting it out there is to enter it in festivals. And boy, when you're in a festivals, you want to get in because you want more people to see your film.
Absolutely.
And then if it gets in, it's like, well, it'd be kind of nice to win an award. So I don't know if that's inspiration, but yes, you for sure, have that feeling. Mr. Smith won quite a few awards, and we
Yeah.
came close to winning some really big ones.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
But did you ever have like this maybe hidden thought about recreating this level of success to maybe be nominated on to Academy Award or something?
Yeah, no, I mean, I probably, no, I mean, I think that was like, it was the perfect time. My timing was right. The year that I got on the short list for documentary films with the Academy, for the Academy Awards, an Inconvenient Truth was in the list. And
By
it won.
Al Gore, right?
Yes, by Al Gore, you know. So I was in pretty good company, I mean, I didn't get a nomination. I was on the short list.
But you were shortlisted, yeah.
But I got close.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening again, I think are pretty slim. I'm just happy if I can find. I'm never more alive than when I'm cooking a really good curry, or I'm working on a documentary that excites me, and I just love being able to tell a story, and to being able to share it with other people. That's my main motivation, and I'm interested in for personal reasons. I want to know where it's going, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think about if it's going to go anywhere because, I don't think that's the proper motivation for getting anywhere, really.
Yeah.
I just want to do a good job. I mean, if I'm thinking about that, I might forget that I have the right f-stop on my lens, right?
Right. Okay. I think I agree with you, and I think that you already described quite thoroughly what you love about your job, but Dasha Gusmanova, one of our viewers, wants to know what do you like the most about your job? What's your favorite moment of filming process?
I really love, I think my favorite moment is you've got all of your footage. You've been following your characters for 6 months, 12 months, whatever. And then you've been editing, and the film, you're starting to tell the story. What I do then is I'm thinking, how can I make this scene like really more emotional? And I start looking for possible kinds of music that I can put underneath. That's my favorite. I can tell you that when I was finishing up, that's the editing on Mr. Smith, the last scene there where he gives his goodbye and he's walking away and you can hear the music coming in from the gospel church, I started crying when I cut it, the first time. I started crying, and my wife ran into my studio. She says, "What happened? Did you lose your footage?" I said, "No, I'm just sad."
Aww.
So that's my favorite part, is the editing part, when the story starts coming together. Yeah. If I'm laughing, if I'm crying, if I'm teared up, I feel like it's working, then I think other people will feel the same way. It seems to be working so far.
Nice. Thanks. Thank you for your answer. And
These are great questions.
yeah, I enjoy them myself. Rahman Muratbek asks, how can you describe your writing process? Do you wait for inspiration, or you're just write with worker mentality?
I don't write. I guess the writing comes in the editing, so to speak, but I'm not creating any words. I'm photographing, I'm filming the words that come out of other people's mouths, and then I'm filming the scenes and the transitions between them. So it's all organic. I do not storyboard.
Okay.
I go in with an idea, but usually it doesn't last very long. you know, there's a saying in the military that before you go into battle, you have a battle plan. But the minute the first bullet flies, you throw the battle plan out the window. You got to have a plan, but
But nobody really follows.
yeah, never follow. So I don't write. I mean, I don't write a description or anything. I for the most part, I mean, it's not always. It used to be the case with Mr. Smith. I didn't. For films that I really want to tell, I don't wait for the money. I don't apply for grants. I don't write a summary so I can try to get money for it. What I do is I start filming, and then that's what I'm going to do with my current project. I'm going to start filming, and then I'm going to make a little trailer, a little teaser, to see if I can keep myself interested in it. And maybe a potential investor would say, yeah, I think this will be good. I'm going to give you some money to do it. Actually, that's how it's going to work on this, because I'm doing it for a television station, but, you know, we're not sure where it's going to go. So I'm going to cut a teaser together. That's a form of writing. I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to shoot and cut, but it's all organic. I don't know where it's going to go until I start laying it down on the timeline. And then I'll have a little teaser, and maybe I'll get some money to do it more or not. I don't know. That's as close as I get to the writing process.
Okay. Actually, you transitioned into the part which all of us will find interesting, because, as I told you when we first met, that in Kazakhstan we are suffering from young filmmakers, young, unexperienced, or even experienced filmmakers who work in documentary genre. They are suffering from underfunding, from the lack of funds and finances for their work. And I know that your job is your production process is very not expensive, right? Because most of the work you do yourself. You don't have a big crew. First of all, can you estimate the lowest amount of money you spent on some particular movies, films you made? And second question is, did you consider crowdfunding or a donation, some, I don't know, Patreon or other systems?
No, you know, I'm not really good at. I'm just not really good at raising money. So if I'm excited about a project, I'll just start working on it. It took me years to do this, but I bought my own equipment. It's sitting right here. It's in a backpack. When I walk on location, I have my backpack with my camera, and I have a monopod. And if I can put gas in my car, and I have a couple of cards I can stick in my camera. I mean, that's all that I need to start filming. There's no reason not to start filming. If I had to have money to do it, then it probably means I don't want to tell. I'm not that excited about it. I don't know if that makes sense. Because what really drives me is the story itself. So what's the lowest budget? I mean, I will say Mr. Smith. Okay, Mr. Smith, I shot the whole thing. It was over with. And I cut it. It was like a first cut. But I didn't get any money for that. It was $0 in the budget. But what happened was, when Jeff Smith saw it and he showed it to his campaign people, they suddenly said, we want to help get this film out there. So they invested a lot of money into the post-production part. And it was because of their generosity that we were able to get as far as we did with the Academy, you know?
Yep.
So, but I've done, you know, I mean, I can say this, that getting to making documentaries, so I didn't go to film school, but you know what I did? When I got corporate gigs, I would, you know, I'd make, I don't know, a couple $1,000 or $10,000 or $50,000. This is years ago. It's hard to find money now anymore. But I would, where was I going with this? I forgot where I was going to go with that.
We're still talking
I was
about.
going somewhere with it.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
It happens to the best of us.
I'll think of it later.
Yeah, we were talking actually about the money, but from what I gathered is that you need to really love your work and be enthusiastic about that, and story should drive you and inspire you, and then everything will just fall into places.
I would say the other thing is that, like, if anybody's out there right now thinking, you know, how do I raise money to make my project? Well, you know, what are you trying to do? I mean, does it require money? Can you do something before you raise the money that will show somebody, look at the passion that I have to make this. I did it for nothing. Imagine what I could do if I had some money. You know?
Right.
I mean, that's sort of the approach that I would take. Oh, I know where I was going with that.
Okay.
I didn't go to film school, but when I took on corporate gigs, I told the client, I said, I want to make this, I don't want to make a commercial for you. I don't want it to look like a commercial. I don't want it to look like conventional marketing. I want it to look like a documentary. Do you mind if I do that? Oh, well, show us what you're talking about. So I was hired to tell a story about this beautiful city, St. Louis, that I live in.
Yeah.
Their job was to make the city look beautiful. So we said, let's go film at the zoo. And I went to the zoo with the client who basically was narrating it. And I didn't know at the time, but we walked into the bird cage and she was afraid of birds, and the birds all just started landing on her. And she was, you know, screaming. I included that in the document, in their little promotional piece.
Jesus, was that?
I included that. It was like, that's what really happened. And I think the lesson that I learned there is that when a client trusts that it's consumers, trust in their story, they'll say, look how honest we're being with you here. We're showing you some bad news. Then they'll listen to everything else that you have to say, all the baloney. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's that's a very very useful technique, and I think you just made a little homage to Hitchcock with this
yes.
scene with the birds, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I should have played on that. I didn't even think of that in the moment.
Maybe not a good thing for city advertising, you know.
Maybe.
But still, film lovers will appreciate that.
Right.
Unfortunately, Frank, our time is coming to an end. Although I would spend a lot more time with you, talking with you and reading questions. You know, in the end, I would like to read. It's not even a question. Lena Moore asks if we can pass it to you. That Gentleman of Vision is an excellent film, very inspiring, and it really raises good. Social, very important topic. So, and I guess she speaks for all of us, because Gentleman of Vision is very, very strong work, and I'm looking forward to whatever you can offer next. And
thank you so much, Maria.
yeah, and thank you so much for being here tonight with us. It's been a pleasure. Talking to you, watching your movies.
Thank you so much, and I really would like to thank Go Viral and all the organizers, and Alexandra and Guhar and yourself for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, and take care, and use all the precautions, because coronavirus, you know, it's a serious thing.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck. Good
Bye-bye.
luck, Frank. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ну что ж, дорогие друзья, это была сессия Фрэнка Поппера вместе с Мади Мамбетовым. Мади, огромное вам спасибо за столь интересный диалог с Фрэнком.
Спасибо, Аслан. Я сам получил удовольствие. Надеюсь, зрителям, нашим участникам было интересно. Потому что иногда мне казалось, что мы увлеклись уже с Фрэнком, просто в какие-то свои залезли дебри. Но я полагаю, что много на самом деле очень важного и интересного рассказал наш сегодняшний гость, потому что он специалист экстра-класса. И, как вы видите, это человек, который, несмотря на то, что сейчас ему уже седьмой десяток вовсю, тем не менее он за копеечные бюджеты, являясь самоучкой, придя в профессию уже в 30 с лишним лет, он все-таки показывает, что можно делать замечательное совершенно кино, да, и я думаю, это очень вдохновляющий и очень полезный для нас всех пример.
Отлично, замечательно. Мади, огромное вам спасибо за этот интересный разговор и за то, что присоединились к нам сегодня в третий день фестиваля Go Viral 2020. Огромное вам спасибо.
Спасибо вам.
Ну что ж, дорогие друзья, а мы с вами продолжаем. Сейчас я бы хотел рассказать вам о четвертом дне фестиваля, о завтрашнем дне, рассказать, что у нас будет происходить завтра. Ну, во-первых, в час дня по времени Алматы у нас будет сессия от Анастасии Валеевой на тему «Журналистика данных во времена COVID-19». В 16:30 будет сессия Айбека Сапашева на тему «Разработка продукта. Создавайте продукты, которые нравятся людям». В 6 часов вечера у нас будет панельная дискуссия на тему «Посткарантинное развитие бизнеса в Центральной Азии». Там будет несколько спикеров. Это Николай Мазенцев из Казахстана, Дильшот Зуфаров из Узбекистана, Азиз Абакиров из Кыргызстана, Диас Нургожин из Казахстана, Ширали Джурабаев из Таджикистана и Хакназар Бабагулиев из Туркменистана. Модератором этой панельной дискуссии будет Мария Ковалева. В 7:30 вечера по времени Алматы у нас будет сессия Саудат Исмаиловой на тему «Легенда о Корхете. Древний миф или предчувствие будущего». Модератором этой сессии будет Александра Цай. И в 8 часов вечера у нас будет сессия от Александра Амзина на тему «Медиа и журналистика после коронакризиса. Прогноз на ближайшие годы». Вот такой у нас график на завтрашний день. Не пропустите, будет очень и очень интересно. Вы видите, как много мы для вас завтрашний день подготовили. Напоминаю, что фестиваль Go Viral 2020 также есть и в мессенджере Telegram. Там есть два канала. Первый канал Go Viral KZ, где вы можете прочитать всю необходимую информацию о фестивале в режиме реального времени. Также есть чат Go Viral чат, там же в Телеграме, где вы можете напрямую задать вопросы нашим организаторам обо всем, что касается фестиваля Go Viral. Также для тех, кто не успел, к сожалению, посмотреть эту трансляцию в прямом эфире, вы не переживайте, ведь все трансляции останутся в записи на нашем канале Go Viral, здесь на платформе YouTube. Сейчас хотелось бы выразить огромную благодарность в помощи организации фестиваля Go Viral 2020, дипломатической миссии США в Казахстане, а также акимату города Алматы. И выразить большое спасибо партнерам нашего фестиваля. Это Smart Point, Eurasia Foundation, American Film Showcase, American Music Abroad, Drama KZ, Театр Артишок, Театр Ильхом и Театр Место Д. Ну и, конечно же, наши медиапартнеры. Это Blue Screen Казахстан, We Project Media, Окно, The Village, 18 Plus Idea и Бизнес и власть. Дорогие друзья, никуда не расходимся. Сейчас, в завершении сегодняшнего третьего дня фестиваля, у нас будет выступление прекрасной исполнительницы Зире Асылбек. Прекрасной исполнительницы Зире Асылбек из замечательной страны Кыргызстана. Дорогие зрители, которые смотрят нас сейчас на платформе Facebook Live, подключайтесь на трансляцию, которая проходит в YouTube, ведь выступление Зире будет проходить именно там, на платформе YouTube, на канале Go Viral. На этой ноте, дорогие друзья, я прощаюсь с вами, говорю до следующей встречи, до завтра, ну и приятного просмотра концерта Зире Асылбек. Всего хорошего.
Сейчас вот на твоих мониторах больших не слышно, да?
Нет, не слышно.
Аллилуйя. Комфортно, все нормально, все хорошо.
Все, чуть-чуть
Серьезно?
повыше, да. Все готовы?
Ketsiz amnunutsu Qanday ömür sürünür ötbösün Ey kızın, anday kılba Değgin sözler aytılgasın Nege bu seni qanday Çekip çürük qalağanday Adam bolum söz erkinligim qanasın bana qaray Seni sığmay, meni sığmay Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım boşuma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız alanında Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım koşulma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız Vakit kellet zaman ötüp Hiç kim ağa antip söylebey Mükeybe anı kılba Sen mağa antip kıykırba Neke oğlum sen qanday Jek köpçülük qalağanday Adam bolum söz erkinligim qanasın mağa qaray Seni sığmay, meni sığmay Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım koşulma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız alanında Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım koşulma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız Hiçbiri biz özün kimsiz besin Hiçbir nerseden sen kemimesin Hiçbiri biz özün kimsiz besin Hiçbir nerseden sen kemimesin Hiçbiri biz özün kimsiz besin Hiçbir nerseden sen kemimesin Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım koşulma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız alanında Senin elini köpüz Gelsin canım koşulma Öz erkinliği bizde biz Caratavız alanında
Все, да? Начинаем? Зря. Мы с тобой последний раз виделись в июне, когда мы записывали, помнишь, мы записывали подкаст для Go Viral, да?
Да.
И я его переслушивал вчера, и просто чтобы сравнить, что ты говорила, что так, ну, в общем, просто сравнить твое настроение тогда, то, как ты воспринимал мир тогда, и как вот мне очень интересно знать, что вообще происходит у тебя вот сегодня, сейчас, да, и вообще в последнее время. Потому что подкаст мы записывали до вот этого всего, до июля, до когда ситуация усложнилась там и так далее. Поэтому у тебя был более оптимистичное настроение по поводу своей музыки. И спустя вот буквально 2 месяца, ну, это очень все резко поменялось. Как ты себя чувствуешь вообще? Что у тебя, когда, как вообще, что у тебя сейчас с музыкой? Мы находимся в студии, где ты записывала всю музыку, весь свой альбом.
Да. Я сейчас просто вспоминаю мое состояние, когда мы записывали подкаст. Сейчас я в депрессии. Тогда я не была в депрессии. Вот. И да, для меня очень многое кардинально изменилось, и да. Но по поводу своей музыки я все еще оптимистична, потому что, знаешь, я только-только начинаю осознавать, что я могу называть сама себя полноценным музыкантом, который, да, есть куда расти, но я музыкант, я артист. Раньше я не могла себе этого сказать из-за синдрома самозванки. Вот. Вот такое мне сейчас.
Как вот альбом новый? Ты вообще что можешь о нем рассказать? Ну, название, может?
Нет, название я пока не могу говорить. Оно уже есть, но я не хочу пока что ничего спойлерить. Новый альбом. Я не знаю, что это такое. Там все настолько сильно разное, вот прям буквально в плане жанров, в плане звучания. И я, если честно, сама только-только с ним знакомлюсь. Я хз, как к нему относиться. И поэтому мне сложно что-либо говорить. Я только вот знаю, что классно. Вот прям классно. Я горжусь. Я никогда так сильно не гордилась своей работой.
Я помню, ты несколько дней или недель назад ты в свой сторис без всякого звука, так, знаешь, эйфорично двигалась, слушала свою новую песню. Как-то процесс создания музыки изменился
Очень.
в сравнении с первым альбомом?
Да, очень сильно гонишь. Первый альбом... Вот, блин, когда я раньше писала музыку, во-первых, я покупала биты на сайте, выбирала, а потом писала вокал, приходила в студию чисто на 2 часа, записаться и уйти. Сейчас процесс выглядит абсолютно по-другому. То есть я не знаю, что такое творческий процесс, и я знаю, что очень много всяких стереотипов по поводу самого творческого процесса, что вот ты сидишь, и к тебе приходит какое-то вдохновение, эйфория и все такое. В моем случае сейчас это больше выглядит, вот я сажусь, начинаю работать, работаю, херня, а потом в конце выходит что-то нужное, и вот когда из тебя выходит вот какой-то нужный звук, какая-то нужная мелодия, ты чувствуешь, что ты в какой-то волне. Вот я не знаю, как это объяснить, мне кажется, ты знаешь, потому что ты тоже творческий человек. Вот эта вот волна, которая... Я в ней никогда раньше не была. То есть ты не знаешь, что вокруг, ты забываешь, что происходит, ты забываешь, что ты не кушала уже там 7 часов. То есть я вот сажусь и начинаю работать для того, чтобы дойти до этой волны. Вот. И сейчас все, что у меня в альбом я включаю, это все в основном происходит с теми материалами, которые вышли из меня в ходе вот таких вот волн, короче.
Чем ты вдохновлялась вообще?
Ну, ты знаешь, что моя музыкальная деятельность очень тесно связана с фем-повесткой. И раньше я как воспринимала? Вот буквально я же только 2 года назад начала заниматься музыкой. До этого я абсолютно не была в курсах. И до этого я воспринимала свою музыку как социальный проект, потому что у меня не было смелости назвать себя музыкантом. Вот. И до этого я воспринимала это все как вот это вот мой план, стратегия моя, вот мой проект, я его делаю. И я очень сильно отделяла личное от именно работы. Но сейчас я понимаю, что фем-повестка, о которой я пишу, и почему у меня пишется больше и лучше о именно женщинах в Кыргызстане, это потому, что это огромная часть меня, то есть те ценности или нормы, которые я вижу в обществе, они на меня влияют просто напрямую. И сейчас это для меня никакой не социальный проект, это для меня личный мой проект, и это мои личные переживания. И даже если я пишу, например, там о комплексах или же о стрит-харассменте, допустим, да, у меня новая песня, это все в первую очередь я черпаю из личного опыта, а потом связываю и сама тоже ищу ответы вокруг себя и связываю с какими-то внешними факторами, чтобы это было relatable для других людей в том числе. Вот. Сейчас это вот так.
Ну вот, знаешь, в знак после знакомства с тобой, вообще, в принципе, общения с тобой, понимаешь, что ты, ну, в какой-то мере чувствительный человек, и особенно чувствительно к тому, что происходит вокруг, да? То есть, возможно, ты как-то будешь игнорировать собственные позывы, какие-то собственные сигналы внутри, но ты будешь очень остро реагировать на то, что происходит вокруг с другими людьми. Ты насколько вот это все повлияло, насколько повлияло вот это первое внимание, первая волна внимания, которую ты получила, и впоследствии, ну, очень много произошло, очень много каких-то были протесты здесь, в Кыргызстане, и действительно был какой-то такой расшатывающий год. Насколько вот это все повлияло, насколько вот это настроение попало в твой альбом, в твое творчество?
Ты знаешь, я думаю, даже если я не вижу какой-то явной связи, по-любому подсознательно это все влияет очень сильно. И ну, то, что происходит у нас в Кыргызстане, да и вообще в мире в целом в последнее время, оно не может не влиять на чью-либо работу. Она абсолютно влияет. И в моем случае я пока что, из-за того, что я только-только знакомлюсь со своим альбомом, я вот эти вот какие-то влияния внешних именно последних факторов вижу в лице там сроков и то, что мне пришлось перенести из-за того, что там у меня был ковид, и из-за карантина, там все дела. Вот. Но пока что я не вижу прям явной связи. Просто, понимаешь, фемповестка — это такая тема, что она всегда была. И всегда есть из чего черпать, и всегда есть вот столько тем. Вот, поэтому пока так.
У тебя нет, по-моему, песен на русском, да?
Нет, я не пишу на русском, мне немного, знаешь, некомфортно, что ли, писать на русском. Вот не знаю, какой-то блок есть.
У тебя, получается, песни на английском, на кыргызском.
Да.
Это на самом деле очень интересно. Ты не чувствуешь себя каким-то таким мессенджером кыргызской фем-повестки внешнему миру и одновременно мессенджером глобальной фем-повестки кыргызскому слушателю?
Это такая интересная перспектива. Я никогда об этом не думала. Я не думала вот прям именно с такого энгла, но в какой-то мере, ну, учитывая то, с какими людьми я знакомлюсь, какой у меня теперь нетворкинг, да, за последние 2 года, я понимаю, что именно мой нетворк, он расширился в сторону кыргызскоязычной аудитории и вот моих иностранных, типа, знакомых. То есть, да, есть в этом какая-то доля правды.
Dilengen nerse işke Daddy told me something. Princess, it'll do you right. He said I was stunning. Baby, I said, be you. Remember, you doing amazing today. Remember, ain't nobody holding you back. Daddy told me something, something. I'll be by your side when you cry and smile whenever. I'll be by your side even when I'm gone forever. I'll be by your side, I'll be by your side whatever. I'll be by your side. I wanna love a man, somebody like my daddy, just like my dad. And I wanna have a man, somebody like my daddy, just by my side. Daddy told me something, honey, it's a love for you. Daddy raised me shining, only is it good you deserve. But remember, you will have to fight hard for that. So never let them stop you up on your bed. Daddy told me something, something. I'll be by your side when you cry and smile whenever. I'll be by your side even when I'm gone forever. I'll be by your side, I'll be by your side whatever. I'll be by your side. I wanna love a man, somebody like my daddy, just like my dad. And I wanna have a man, somebody like my daddy, just by my side. Hey, remember, you're doing amazing today. You're doing amazing. Remember, ain't nobody holding you back. No one holding you back. Remember, you will have to fight hard for that. You will have to fight. So never let them stop you up on your path. Never let them stop. I wanna love a man, somebody like my daddy, just like my dad. And I wanna have a man, somebody like my daddy, just by my side.
Хыс. Твоя самая главная песня, никакая другая песня пока что не сравнилась ни в эффекте, ни в том, как... ну, ни в ресепшене, да, в принципе, в том, как люди восприняли ее. И вот на момент записи, вот буквально через 3 дня уже будет юбилей, это, второй год, как вышла эта песня. И не то, что песня, вышел клип.
Да.
Насколько помню, да, вышел клип.
Да.
Насколько изменилось твое отношение к этой песне? Как ты ее теперь воспринимаешь? Что она для тебя значит спустя 2 года?
Ты знаешь, буквально полгода назад я бы тебе сказала, что я ее ненавижу. Ну вот именно в плане работы там в самой песне, не в видосе дело, а вот именно в песне. Это моя самая начальная работа, и я до этого абсолютно никакой музыкой не занималась. И полгода назад, когда я очень сильно анализировала все, что я делаю. Я была в Италии, я жила одна, и это все на меня влияло. И я просто терпеть не могла свои старые песни. До сих пор мне немного но прям я их ненавидела. Я слушала и слышала просто скрип в ушах, и я такая, я же могла лучше, я же могла вот здесь вот так. А сейчас я ее уважаю. И я уважаю все свои старые песни, потому что тогда я сделала все, на что я была способна. И я поняла, что я не должна настолько строго к себе относиться в этом плане, тем более к себе прошлой. Вот. И в конце концов, это песня, которая положила начало всему этому. Я сейчас ее очень сильно люблю, уважаю, и она для меня как вот нечто родное, прям очень, из всего, что у меня есть.
Я вижу по твоим сторис, по твоим публикациям, что ты себя окружила таким сестринством с другими креаторами, с другими инфлюенсерами, с Эльданой, с Акал. Какое вообще отношение... До этого у тебя было что-либо подобное? И насколько вот спустя 2 года у тебя, соответственно, есть такой, значит, sizable following, да, в социальных сетях, и насколько вот соцсети повлияли, насколько вот эти отношения, потому что, ну, ты стала популярнее, у тебя друзья появились популярнее, насколько вот это все добавляет, возможно, добавляет давление какое-то, или наоборот придает какие-то силы и веру. Какое у тебя это отношение с популярностью? Да, как у Леди Гага любила же часто говорить там ее два первых альбома The Fame или Тополя. Вот какие у тебя отношения с этими платформами и с популярностью в целом?
Слушай, соцсети — это очень токсично, и это нисколечки неправда абсолютно нигде. Ну, типа, то, что мы видим в соцсетях, я думаю, всем уже ясно, понятно, что это... ну, далеко не все, что происходит. И по поводу сестринства, там немного вопрос другой. Если говорить о друзьях, то они и вот этом вот сестринстве, которое у меня было оно у меня было всегда. Не всегда, но последние 5 лет я нахожусь среди просто замечательных людей, замечательных девчонок, где мы друг другу и терапевты, и подруги, и сестры, и мамы иногда, поэтому это я очень сильно ценю. Но вот то, что в соцсетях сестринство, не сестринство в соцсетях, а сестринство, мое сестринство, которое видно в соцсетях людям, это же публичные люди тоже, это публичные девчонки, и есть некоторые общие темы, которые мы знаем, то есть о которых наболит, и мы можем сесть поговорить именно в плане соцсетей, в плане токсичности соцсетей, и в плане вот этой вот дилеммы, что соцсети очень сильно нужны, просто необходимы, но с другой стороны они сильно отнимают прям всю энергию. Вот. И мой круг сестринства расширяется, и я этому очень рада, да. И ты знаешь, мы прям работаем над тем, я не знаю, могу ли я об этом говорить, но мы, в общем, с девчонками создали движение, которое называется Jetty это же в октябре, да? Не, могу говорить. Которое называется Jetty. И это, знаешь, такое движение, вот что-то вроде Time's Up, вот именно публичных инфлюенсеров, которые... В общем, мы решили вместе волнами поднимать инфоповоды по поводу сестринства, феминизма, дискриминации, неравенства и так далее, и создавать в интернете, продвигать ценности, именно феминистские ценности, вот, и как бы менять повестку. Вот это мое сестринство именно с людьми, о которых ты говоришь, и мы его специально делаем видимым. Но кроме этого у меня есть еще очень-очень много классных людей.
Что нам ожидать от тебя? Музыка? Когда будет новый альбом? Что ты будешь с ним делать? Это будет какая-то, может, возможно, новая эра? Или это будет продолжением той же темы? Ну вот, мне интересно узнать, какой мы будем видеть тебя, в каком амплуа и когда. Вот, наверное, самый главный вопрос.
Блин, вот про альбом я тоже пока не могу говорить, когда он выйдет, но кроме музыки, музыка по-любому меня можно будет в ближайшие годы точно видеть в музыке, надеюсь, развивающуюся и в поисках себя, именно в этом плане, в музыке. Но кроме этого, я же начинающая актриса. Я училась в Риме на театральном искусстве, и я не знаю, могу ли я, вот видишь, проекты, о которых, не знаю, могу ли я говорить, хотя, да, мне кажется, я могу. В общем, мы с кое-какой командой готовим театральный проект. Вот. И я там надеюсь состояться и в роли сценариста, и в роли продюсера, и в роли актрисы, самое главное. Вот. Но пока я не могу ничего говорить об этом проекте. Извиняюсь.
Какие скрытные у нас люди. Ладно. Здорово. Спасибо. Все. This is it.
Классно.
Тыш. Окей.
қараңғы кердейім айтсаң сен күшіңді қант деп қаяққа қолданып қораттың айтсаң қалтыра тұрғаным нең қараңғы кердейім айтсаң сен күшіңді қант деп қаяққа қолданып қораттың айтсаң қалтыра тұрғаным нең іштегі жоқтыр айтасың ақырына ұғып қалбасын ертеңге шейін күтіп туралы да бәлкім өзгеріп қалады Сүйіншіліп қиқырғаны біз ісіңде пиал жаралғанда ағайын мені қалтыра біз башыңды бұратқа қарап іштегі жоқтыр айтасың ақырына ұғып қалбасын ертеңге шейін күтіп туралы да бәлкім өзгеріп қалады бәрі ошондой қандай болгондой біз бир ойлонуп койбогондой ертеңге чейин күтпөй элебиз бүгүн эле баштайт окшойбуз сүйүнчү 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 hearts, but there's no way he breaks yours. You poor thing, you should know that you don't deserve him, you never will. Got lucky, so beware. Don't ever try, refuses will. I knew yours lose fly or free. Play hide and seek. Lies make them for repeat. Lies make the walls What would you do anyways? What would you do anyways? What would you do